film opens in 1917, precisely during the Somme War. In that battle, the captain of the British soldiers was shot in the stomach. The medical officer immediately treated the captain by removing 3 bullets in his stomach. Then when the doctor managed to remove 2 bullets and wanted to remove the 3rd bullet, he found a large bullet made of silver. And the doctor was very sure that the bullet was not designed by Germany. But right when the 3rd bullet was removed, the captain died immediately. So where did the silver bullet come from? Watch it until the end, so you don't misunderstand. So it all started 35 years ago in the countryside of France. There lived a notorious landowner named Siamus Laurent, who lived with his wife Isabel and their 2 children named Charlotte and Edward. In addition, there was a Roma clan known as the Gypsy group that began to roam around France and claim some of the areas as their land. The leader of the group then predicted that there was danger coming, so he made false teeth using silver and human skulls as protection. On the other hand, Siamus and the village elders held a meeting where they discussed the Gypsy clan who would soon come to their village. Although Siamus intended to talk it over nicely and was ready to pay them, the elders emphasized that the Gypsy clan would not just let go of the land that they considered theirs. So Siamus and the other elders decided to expel the Gypsy clan by force. The next day, Siamus and the elders went to the Gypsy camp to expel them. But because the Gypsy clan remained adamant about not leaving, Siamus and the others were forced to use violence and even slaughter them. Siamus then caught 2 clan members who tried to escape. One of them was the clan leader. The elders then found false teeth made of silver and finally buried them with the clan leader's body alive. During the burial, the clan leader continued to chant and said that the darkness would repay their actions. While the man who tried to escape, his hands and feet were cut off, and his body was used as a scarecrow. A few days later, Charlotte dreams about a scarecrow and a silver tooth buried beneath it. Elsewhere, a pathologist or disease identification expert named John McBrath comes to the village to seek information on the whereabouts of the Gypsy clan. The next day, Edward also had the same dream as Charlotte. However, this time Edward saw the figure of the leader of the Gypsy clan, which made Edward afraid. But it turned out that it was not only them who had the nightmare, but all the children in the village. Then when the village children gathered to play, one of them named Timmy revealed that he knew where the scarecrow in their dream was. So they immediately went to that place. But before that, Timmy told the others not to tell anyone about this. Timmy then dug the ground under the scarecrow and found false teeth. Because he was curious, Timmy put the false teeth in his mouth. And suddenly he lost his mind and bit Edward. Seeing this terrible thing, Charlotte immediately ran home to tell her parents. Fortunately, Edward could still be saved even though he was seriously injured. Not long after, the doctor came and said that Edward was attacked by a wild animal. Meanwhile, Charlotte still kept her promise to Timmy not to tell people about the problem.
Thank you, Doctor.
That night, Charlotte then went to Edward's room to see how he was. But there she found Edward having difficulty breathing. And when she opened the blanket, Charlotte was surprised by something like vines wrapped around Edward's body. Charlotte immediately screamed in fear and told her parents about it. But when they returned to Edward's room, it turned out that Edward had disappeared who knows where.
Edward!
As a result, the next day, Seamus brought all the residents to look for Edward. But unfortunately, the results were nothing.
Edward!
Elsewhere, a police lieutenant named Mollier tells John McBride that a boy named Edward suddenly disappeared. And maybe this has something to do with the Gypsy clan, because Edward's father previously had a problem with the Gypsy clan. Because John was indeed looking for information about the Gypsy clan, he immediately went to investigate. On the other hand, Charlotte then went to church to pray that her brother would be found soon. Along with that scene, she heard something behind the door which turned out to be Timmy. Timmy, who was hiding in the confession room, then revealed that he was completely unconscious for a moment after wearing the false teeth. And now he feels guilty for what happened to Edward. So Charlotte assured Timmy that no one knew that this was what attacked Edward. Edward also said that he kept the silver teeth in the church. Timmy then began to read the book of Yehezkel, which basically said that the silver fangs were formed from 30 silver coins that Judas received from his betrayal of Jesus. So Timmy ripped out the page just in case he might need it. At the same time, Charlotte's maid appeared, making Timmy run away in fear into the forest. But he stopped when he saw something running in the bushes, and it turned out to be a strange creature that suddenly ran fast past Timmy, making Timmy's hand crushed. Timmy then ran back and went into the hut for shelter, but the creature found him and...
Good day, sirs.
Meanwhile, John Fickbrad comes to Seamus's house. There they then get information about the discovery of Timmy's body in the shack. So they immediately go there and find Timmy's body that has been destroyed along with torn pieces of the Yehezkel Bible.
Attacked by a wild animal.
Police Muller also claimed that Timmy's death was caused by the same animal as the one that attacked Edward, and it was probably a wolf. Muller then returned to town to make a report, while John remained in the village to investigate further.
Have an attack by a wild animal. There's nothing more I can do.
So you knew the terrible fever.
While in the village, John stayed at Seamus's house. There he went around the house and found bloodstains on the door, which he claimed were traces of Edward's blood.
Awesome.
Then that night, John also had a dream about a scarecrow and silver false teeth. Not only that, he also saw his wife and child being taken away by a scarecrow. Then the next day, John secretly scraped the bloodstains in Seamus's house to study. And when he found out more, it turned out that the blood had bound and turned into other blood cells. But his research was interrupted when he heard a sound from behind the window. John checked it, and it turned out that he saw a creature staring at him, before the creature finally left. With that, Seamus came, and the two of them tried to check outside, but they found nothing. Elsewhere, 3 villagers are seen looking for wood in the forest, but one by one they are attacked by the scary creature.
Jacob?
Fortunately, one of them, Annie Mary, managed to escape and return to the village to report about this incident.
This is all we find.
Hearing the news, John, Seamus, and the others went to Annie Mary's house to find out what creature attacked her. But when they arrived at Mary's house, it turned out that she was missing and left a trail of blood around the window. Because the situation was getting worse, John asked Seamus and other residents to fortify the church and told all residents to take shelter in the church, while he went to hunt the creature.
Sorry.
That night, John chatted with Isabel, where John shared that he used to have a wife and children. But unfortunately, they were killed after being attacked by the same terrible creature that attacked the village. John also explained that after the death of his loved ones, a group of gypsies came to his town saying that the curse was taking revenge. Hearing this, Isabel revealed that previously the Gypsies had also claimed her husband's land. But when Isabel wanted to tell more, Seamus tried to stop her so that they would no longer discuss the curse. The next day, John went into the woods to set some traps. And after waiting for a while, the terrifying creature appeared and entered his trap. Quickly, John immediately shot the creature to death. John then continued to take the creature to Seamus' cage to perform an autopsy. There, John, Seamus, and the other elders then began to rip open the creature's stomach and found Annie Mary screaming at them. Because she was no longer the real Annie Mary, they immediately shot Annie Mary dead. Seeing this, Seamus began to think and fear that what his son experienced was the same as Annie, so he was determined to kill the creature that was bothering his son and end the curse.
That's absurd. I had nothing to do with this.
In the following days, many residents chose to leave the city or hide in churches for shelter. Meanwhile, John asked Isabel about the identity of the Gypsy woman who was buried alive by Seamus and the others. But Isabel also doesn't know about this. But what is certain is that Seamus often acts cruelly to maintain his ownership.
It's the only trophy that's kept.
When Seamus and the others started to kill the creature, John and Isabel tried to talk nicely to open up about what he knew. So Charlotte showed a piece of the book of Ezekiel, which contained about 30 pieces of silver. From there, she revealed that she and the other children found silver false teeth, which were then hidden in the church. John, Charlotte, and Isabel went to the church to get the silver teeth. After that, John tried to find a blacksmith to turn the false teeth into bullets.
Charlotte, I need a blacksmith.
On the other hand, Seamus and the others have been around the forest, but have not found anything, and without them realizing it, the creature is in their house to kill their maid named Annis. Even though Annis managed to survive the attack with many injuries, she chose to remain silent and not tell anyone. Then at night, John decided to guard while carrying a rifle. But at the same time, he saw the cloths covered in blood from the creature's attack on Annis. John immediately met Seamus and asked if anything was missing in this house. While Seamus, Charlotte, and Isabel were there except for Annis, who was treating her wounds. Seamus also thinks that what John did was excessive and tells him to leave the village. But John refuses before the troops from the city arrive.
I'm just the caretaker.
John then continued to guard on the second floor, while Annis had begun to feel the effects and felt pain. On the other hand, Seamus then heard a strange sound from Annis's room, so he immediately took the gun and headed to Annis's room. But now Annis has completely mutated into a terrifying creature and immediately attacks Seamus. In the chaos, Seamus accidentally drops a candle, which then burns the entire room. John, who heard the chaos, immediately approaches Seamus, who runs into the horse stables. Although Seamus managed to kill the creature with his gun, he was injured from being bitten. And because Seamus was worried about his future, he poured oil on his body and burned himself before he mutated and attacked his own family. There, John tried to stop him, but his efforts were too late. John then takes Charlotte and Isabel away from their burning house. The three of them arrive at the church safely. While inside the church, John tells the other villagers that he has a bullet made from a silver tooth, and later he will use the bullet to shoot the terrible creature to stop its curse. Then in the middle of the night when everyone was asleep, Isabel heard Edward's voice from outside. So without hesitation, she opened the church door, but without realizing it was a trick by the creature to trick Isabel. As a result, the terrifying creature was ready to attack them and slaughter the residents in the church. John prepared to shoot the silver bullet, but Isabel tried to stop him by standing in front of the terrifying creature. Having no other choice, John was forced to pull the trigger so that the bullet penetrated Isabel's body and hit the terrifying creature. Isabel lay helpless, and with her last breath, Isabel saw Edward had returned to his human body, which means the silver bullet managed to end the curse and Edward survived, while Isabel was beyond help. After the incident, John took Charlotte and Edward with him because the two children no longer had a home and parents. Before they left the village, Charlotte returned 3 other silver bullets to John that she found on the church floor. The scene then shows 35 years later, and it is revealed that Edward is the captain who was shot in the Somme War at the beginning of the film. And the big bullet in Edward's body is a silver bullet to ward off the curse. Then when Edward died on the operating table, Charlotte took the bullet and returned it to John, who is now bedridden because he is very old. The film ends